The Abyssinian cat is an animal artificially bred in the UK, which is now so loved by many that it is rightfully considered a popular domestic breed. It was these cats that were among the first to start participating in exhibitions. They are different in appearance and also exhibit many positive character traits, which makes them so popular. Abyssinian cats have been especially popular in the USA and Europe for many years. The most popular is the one that claims the origin of cats from Ethiopia. This is evidenced by the name, because in ancient times Ethiopia was really called Abyssinia. From there, the seals were brought to Great Britain, where they were repeatedly crossed with representatives of other local breeds. As a result of this, many years later, a breed appeared that we all see now. According to another version, these are direct descendants of Egyptian cats. There is also a version that these are domesticated descendants of African cats that arrived from the Middle East. There is also the simplest version that lends itself to criticism from many experts. This version is that the breed was completely bred in the UK artificially, simply after crossing local breeds. That would explain a lot. In particular, such a large process of genetic defects in infertile females. One way or another, but nevertheless, the breed began to develop as actively as possible in Great Britain, where in the future representatives of the species were crossed with others in order to get the most ideal combination. These cats were officially registered at the end of the 19th century. After the breed went through a lot of different metamorphoses, then to reach other countries already in the form in which everyone sees it now. Today, many breeders are actively working to keep the breed in its original form without impurities. Abyssinian cat, breed description. Abyssinian cats are of medium size. They cannot be called small or large. In many ways, they have similarities with the Bengal breed. Both of them are particularly versatile, unpretentious in care, and are suitable even for people with allergies. It's simple, the coat is very short and tight to the body. That is why many people think that a cat has a bald body. Tick color, a combination of dark and light shades in one hair, is what is typical for newborn representatives of the breed. The ears of these cats are rather massive, they have a wide base and rounded tips. The eyes are the most expressive in these cats. Green, hazel, yellow and all kinds of shades of these colors. This is not a complete list of their colors. Long tail and thin paws are other distinctive features of this breed. In general, the body of the Abyssinian cat is extremely plastic and sinewy. The muscles, especially in the chest area, are well developed. Although these animals are often called not beautiful enough, this is absolutely impossible to agree with. Original colors, extraordinary grace, what more could you want? Such a cat initially gets used to being in the spotlight and then simply cannot live without it. Abyssinians will be ideal partners and companions. Due to their small dimensions, they can be easily taken on trips, which will be another indisputable advantage. Since the breed lends itself well to education, it is perfect for apartments. After all, there you need to train the cat to the tray without harm to furniture and repairs. In relation to this breed, this will certainly not be a problem. Popular colors of Abyssinian cats. These amazing cats come in all kinds and colors. At the same time, there are more popular ones, and there are rare ones. The more rare the coloration is, the higher the price of the cat will be. Each cat's hair has at least 4 different pigments. But you should be prepared for the fact that you will not be able to see this at first. Only when the kitten is about 6 months old will it be possible to evaluate its color to the end. He becomes more expressive. The most popular colors among Abyssinian cats are classic wild. Judging by the name, we can conclude that in nature it is most often found just such a shade. An orange-brown tint with an admixture of ochre is what helps the cat to look invisible in natural conditions, golden with emerald eyes. The combination is the rarest. Fawn is another popular shade that is in demand because of its uniqueness. Its main phenomenon is the presence of exclusively recessive genes in animals. This is the reason for the light sandy tide. Interesting fact, if at least one parent has a classic wild color, then absolutely all cats in the litter will be of this color. If there are other genes in addition to the parents, then by 6 months the kitten's tone may change slightly. Golden brown shades should always prevail here. In cats of this breed, gray cannot be found at all. Also, the discrepancy of shades on the abdomen and pads is not allowed. Even such deviations will already become a weighty reason to remove the animal from the competition at the exhibition. The nature and habits of Abyssinian cats. No wonder many argue that the nature of the representatives of this breed is much more similar to dogs. Indeed, they are quite loyal to their owner. For cats, this over-attachment is usually not typical. The Abyssinian cat especially loves exactly those games that you can play with the owner. She will prefer his company to the company of other animals. Representatives of this breed are easy to train. If desired, the cat can easily be taught to bring a stick. Interesting fact, the animal fits perfectly with all household members, adores children, but still recognizes only one person as the owner. Seals are very responsible for their own content. Since they are very fond of cleanliness, they themselves do everything to ensure that the apartment is always clean. Although the cat is very flexible, one should not expect a complete resemblance to the behavior of a dog. The cat knows his own worth and still expects a response from the owner to his loyalty. They are especially sensitive to changes in the mood of their owner. If he is tired or upset about something, the animal will just quietly lie down next to him and enjoy his company. But if it is noticeable that the owner is in high spirits, the animal will immediately express a desire to play. But there is also a downside to this attachment. If the owner has offended his pet in some way, he may become so upset that he even becomes depressed or sick. Seals are very pedantic, so it is extremely difficult for them to get used to a new place if they have already clearly understood where the kitchen is, the tray. This is one of the biggest advantages, it is not difficult to accustom them to order. Interesting facts about Abyssinian cats. The Abyssinian cat is an amazing creature that will not leave indifferent even the most zealous cat breeder. You can talk endlessly about this beautiful breed. But, if you highlight the most interesting facts about these cats, then it is worth noting the following. The name comes from the place where seals appeared in Ethiopia, formerly Abyssinia. Mummies of representatives of this breed were in Egypt during the excavation of the tombs of the rulers. The cat looks wild only at first glance. In fact, they are very domestic in nature, they perfectly adapt to the lifestyle of the owner, they need care and affection. The weak point of cats is the kidneys. Renal amyloidosis is a common pathology among representatives of this breed. On average, cats of this breed live up to 15 years. Most of this indicator depends on living conditions and other various external factors. Most often, males are born among cats of this breed. If you look at the statistics, then the approximate ratio of males and females is 1 to 3. This is associated with pricing, females are much more expensive, seals are not cheap. Although, if you wish, you can find a budget option for a pet. In general, the character of these cats is much more like a dog. That is why they are not only loved so much by the owners, but also by other pets. With dogs, this breed of cats gets along under one roof just fine. The favorite pastime of these cats is jumping and running on various hills. All these features make cats stand out from the crowd, making them so different from others. This is their value and uniqueness. Pros and cons of Abyssinian cats. Each animal breed has its own strengths and weaknesses. First of all, we are talking about whether the breed is suitable for the home, how well it makes contact and much more. Everyone will then decide for himself which of these points are key and which are not. At first glance, the cat seems arrogant, but with closer contact, it will turn out to be docile and kind. Although the animal will not tolerate humiliation in its address. The most significant advantages of the breed include devotion, mindfulness, mind. Representatives of this breed are always especially collected, judicious, beauty and sophistication of movements. The animal is non-conflict, therefore, it will ideally fit into those families where there are already animals or small children. The cat is not prone to whims, displays of aggression. He loves to spend time with the owner, so you can certainly play enough with him without any problems. But there are also weaknesses in this breed. The most significant are very high price, the need to pay a lot of attention to the kitten. Without this, the animal will quickly become homesick. The cat is overly active and therefore can damage something in the house, cause harm. To keep her company, often the owner himself needs a lot of energy, loves the hills. In this regard, he loves to travel on cornices, curtains. This feature must be initially accepted or thought about choosing a different breed. Although there are more advantages, but still for someone the disadvantages may be the most significant, so you should always get acquainted with this in advance. Breeding Abyssinian cats. Often, certain difficulties can arise with breeding representatives of this breed. The reason is that, according to statistics, there are much more females than males. Seals grow up very early. The first heat occurs already at the age of 4 to 5 months. But according to the standards, you need to wait out 3 estrus, after which it will already be possible to bring the kitty to the male. The age at this point must be at least 10 months. But, if we talk about males, then they are considered sexually mature from 8 months. Interesting fact, if you want to get a cat of a certain color, then you should especially carefully look at the cat. The same applies to cases when a cat is planned to participate in future competitions. Then a partner should be selected exclusively according to the parameters in order to get the perfect offspring. Animals are kept exclusively on the territory of the cat. The female in this case gets a little nervous, hiding in the corners, but in the end everything goes pretty well. To get the desired result for sure, it is better to leave the cats together for a few days. It should also be borne in mind that the more experienced they are, the less time it takes. The cat's pregnancy lasts about 65 days. The maximum number of kittens that you can get is 6. But most often they are born in the amount of 3 to 4. Females have a very developed maternal instinct, so she often copes with taking care of the offspring on her own. Unfortunately, among cats, there is a fairly large percentage of infertile females. If, among the offspring, you choose those who do not have any genetic pathologies, then you get an extremely small number at all. It is with this that such a high price for truly thoroughbred kittens is connected. Abyssinian cat care. Cats are absolutely unpretentious in terms of grooming. Their coat is very short, so no special procedures are required. It is enough just a couple of times a week to walk with a stiff brush. If the period of active shedding comes, then the cat will have to help a little to cope with the problem and thereby speed up the process of getting rid of the old wool. For this, the cat is often bathed using the most suitable shampoos. It is very important to keep an eye on your pet's nails, they need to be trimmed regularly. It is also worth remembering the standard list of hygiene procedures, cleaning your ears, teeth. This should be done periodically. But, if there are concerns, it is best to use the services of specialists for this and not experiment on your own. An important fact, the diet deserves special attention. It must be balanced. If there are any deviations in terms of the health of the pet, you need to deliver it to the veterinarian as soon as possible. It is important not to forget about vaccination, it must be mandatory in accordance with the age of the pet. You also need to treat it from parasites if you plan to go outdoors. Otherwise, a variety of negative consequences are possible. In any case, after such a trip, the pet will need to be carefully examined. If you need to travel with a cat, you should take care of comfortable carrying, and in winter, also warm overalls. But this is recommended only as a last resort because the representatives of this breed themselves are very thermophilic. They are quite comfortable at home, cats do not need walks as such. Diet of Abyssinian cats. Opinions have diverged on the proper nutrition of pets for many years. The reason is in the most zealous discussions about dry food. Some argue that, because of its balance it is the best, but natural food can often be of poor quality. Others are of the opinion that dry food should not be given at all, but you need to feed it with the kind of food that we eat. Disputes arise due to the fact that, in fact, high-quality dry food is very expensive. But cheap counterparts have the opposite effect and can easily harm your pet. If the animal, feeding on dry food, does not receive a sufficient amount of liquid, the consequences can be kidney stones and urinary stones, ulcers. By the way, if you need to feed the animal 2 times a day in adulthood, then the water should be constant. Especially in the summer. You should also try to keep the walls of the drinker non-slippery, otherwise the cat may be poisoned. Meat is a great option for a cat. Moreover, since cats are predators by nature, they don't even need to boil or fry the meat beforehand. It is enough just to cut it in small pieces. If this method is unacceptable for the owner, then it is better to boil it. As a side dish, you can use oatmeal, millet or buckwheat porridge. Carrots, beets, zucchini, these are the vegetables with which the entire set of essential vitamins and minerals comes in. But sweets, fatty, fried, smoked, should be completely abandoned. It is not necessary to assume that, by feeding the cat with delicacies, the owner makes him better. The body of a cat and a person works a little differently, so it does not mean at all that the owner's diet will suit the pet. Besides water, cats are not recommended to drink anything else. Juices, teas are strictly prohibited. Diseases and health problems. Basically, if we talk about the development of a particular pathology of cats, then their occurrence and subsequent development is directly related to its lifestyle, diet. Often it is the wrong care diet that provokes the development of diseases. In the first place, among all that are found in representatives of this breed, renal pathologies are distinguished. This is due to the fact that the organ is not so hardy. If the animal eats dry food in large quantities, then the development of urolithiasis is almost inevitable. Retinal atrophy is another common disease among this species. Dysplasia of the hip joint and dislocated patella are common. These are the most common health problems in cats of this breed. At the same time, there is no need to worry that the kitten will definitely be sick. In fact, reliable catteries try to make sure that only healthy cats are presented. But in any case, the list of diseases indicates those to which the animal is predisposed. That is why, from an early age, you should pay attention to the diet and lifestyle of your pet. If there are any prerequisites or possible manifestations of such diseases, it is better to contact specialized clinics as soon as possible for a comprehensive examination. The sooner you take care of the cat's health, the more favorable the outcome will be. It is also important that the animal leads an active lifestyle. This will require various racks, toys. Abyssinian cat, price and how to buy it correctly. The cost of kittens varies from $200 to $1,300 US. It all depends on many different factors. The most significant are correctly executed documents. Sometimes the owners may not properly draw up all the documentation for a kitten, despite the fact that it fully meets all the parameters. If the buyer does not plan to participate in exhibitions and buys a kitten exclusively as a pet, then this option will be optimal. But in this case, you will be able to save a lot. But it must be remembered that documentation is also necessary for the export of an animal abroad. Coloring. Rarer colors always cost more. Girls are almost everywhere 25 to 30% more expensive than boys. Compliance with breed standards. Even minor deviations from the norm entail a decrease in price. Active, cheerful kids are always more appreciated than phlegmatic ones. All these points together form the final cost of the kitten. If we talk about an adult animal, then here the price will already decline. Skills and regalia, of course, are a separate advantage of the cat, but still the animal will not be as appreciated as small pedigree kittens. For families with children, small playful cats are better suited. But it is worth focusing on the character of the child. Those who like to travel often and plan to take the animal with them on trips will appreciate the option of issuing all the documents at once, since they will still not be able to do without them. In order not to get into an unpleasant situation, it is better to order kittens directly through specialized nurseries or through private verified persons who can guarantee compliance with all standards. Thus, when choosing a kitten, you should focus on many different parameters. The kid should not only be cute but also have the necessary documents, vaccinations. The Abyssinian cat is a British breed that has already been loved by many around the world. This sensible animal will appeal to everyone.